Hello, I have a 2006 Chevy Impala LT. I've driven it for 172,000 miles. Just in the past 9 months, I have put on about 17,000 miles due to travels from home to work. In that time, I have had a couple of oil changes, and about 12,000 miles ago I started noticing some problems. And it just seemed like my throttle was sticking, but I did not know that at the time. So, at 166,000 miles, last February, I had spark plugs and wires replaced. And then the problem came back. So, I took it into another dealership. And they determined that there was a problem with the amount of carbon in the throttle, which they cleaned out. And where you get the issue is right in here. If you see the black, and when this is closed, your butterfly is shut, and no oxygen can get through there with ignition. The worst issue was when it was cold, when the engine was cold. When it was cold, you had the butterfly stuck, and it was hard to get that really open, to get that to pass through. So I got it cleaned out, and it worked again. Then I had the same problem all over again. I was having the same issue. Then I had an engine light come on, and that's when they got this cleaned up again. So I had that issue, and it got resolved. Finally, same dealership, a couple of weeks later, they decided to use a can of carbon clean out, and they cleaned this out. That was about 3,000 miles ago. But same thing happened again, so I had another oil change, and I decided, you know, that I really have to take this in again. But before I could, I was rounding a corner going up a hill, and my car engine went from, the speed went from 40 miles per hour down to about 15 miles per hour. And an indicator light came on, and then the words reduced engine power came on. So, big issues there, because now my car is bucking like a Bronco, and then when I finally got it in park, it was idling very rough, and I knew it had to have been the throttle. So I got the throttle replaced. Works perfectly. I've driven it for the past 3 trips, been driving it about 400 miles, and it works great. So I decided to keep this thing. I asked the dealer if I could keep this. So this is the piece that I pulled off. You notice there's a sensor right there. So that's the body. And then we have the gears. In checking some online forums, I found that sometimes these plastic gears will eventually break or crack. Let's test that theory. As you can see, everything works great when I open up the butterfly. However, I'm doing this manually. And when I'm doing this manually, it works like a charm. My only guess is that it would be these sensors right here. This is attached to these plugs, which goes up into this. So my guess is, if this is the motor, and you in your comments can correct me on this, this was the issue. So I think that might have been the problem, and I got it fixed. But always fun to play around with these gizmos, huh? As long as your car is still in operation. Thank you for listening.